FB, it's your boy AC, with another round of What He Really Thinks, taken from the book What He Really Thinks, The Traffic Lights Guide to the Male Mind, out very, very shortly. Today's topic is what he really thinks when you say, I love you. Now, in the research for this, we had a lot of focus groups, and I also had a little trawl on the internet to see what was out there. There was some funny, amusing, I guess not amusing to everybody, little skits on YouTube, for example, where a woman says, I love you, and then it's the guy's response to that. And in all of those sort of little episodes, the guy's response was internal in his mind, of course, was quite sexually based. And I guess that leads me on to extrapolating something that came out of the research, the personal research for this, which was the areas in which not to say, I love you. Regular viewers will know that I never get preachy about this, but I'm just telling you perhaps some instances where what you might want to hear back isn't necessarily what he's thinking to tell you. So, for example, using the YouTube skits, for example, after sex is probably not the best time to be saying I love you if you want to elicit the most honest response from him. Not least because some men have it in them that, you know, you just had a really great time with me. Of course you love me, right? It sounds over the top, but trust me. Another area, another instance perhaps not best to be saying it is when you're feeling vulnerable or particularly needy. Again, the research and the guys that I've spoken to about this, that's possibly going to elicit a response of I love you back, but it's an I love you which really in the undercurrent is, I know you're in a needy place at the moment, I know you're feeling vulnerable and not too good, I love you, babe. I guess there's two categories. Again, we talk about this in the book, especially in the section to do with commitment. There's two categories of guys who will and won't say I love you. The willy-nilly kind of guy who just says it kind of sporadically, you know, the kind of guy who's known a girl for, 2 weeks and already he's telling her, I love you, babe, and the kind of guy who never says it. Okay, if we deal with the first kind of guy, says it all the time. Now, I've been accused recently by one of my good friends about patronizing men in these virals and sometimes in the stuff that I've written for newspaper articles, etc., in dumbing down men's ability to understand what it is they're saying. So in this instance, when a guy who says it willy-nilly says, I love you, my thinking around it is he actually doesn't understand the power, the strength of those three words. Hence, he probably wants to say, I like you, you know, I like doing this or whatever it is with you that you've been enjoying, which makes him say, I love you. But because he says it so randomly and so sporadically and so quickly from different woman to different woman, I'm sure you know the kind of guy I'm talking about, is that really love? With that in mind, my friend who told me that I've been patronizing men, and any of you out there who think that I'm patronizing men in any of the things that I've said today or elsewhere, I guess my response to that is guys don't necessarily think that they're being talked down to at all. Often guys think that they're too clever to be talked down to or too clever to be wrong. Hence the guy who says, I love you, willy-nilly, to him, what's he doing wrong? You know, I do have love for her, I love her, etc. Moving on to the guy who never says I love you. We talk about this in the book, What He Really Thinks, A Traffic Lights Guide to the Male Mind, and in the section about commitment specifically, the kind of guy who never says that I love you, quite often it's a deep line insecurity. Sometimes it can be a power thing where he wants to hear it so that he knows where he sits in your hierarchy of emotional needs, and he can do what he wants to do. But I think quite often it has a lot to do with his insecurity in the whole commitment thing again. If he says that, then that moves on the relationship in a way or at a pace that he's not ready for. I'll expose myself now. No, not physically, no. My ex-girlfriend, who I'm still cool with, told me not too long ago that when we were going out, it took her quite long to say the word I love you even though she felt it for me, because she was concerned that if she said it to me it would put pressure on our relationship. But what she soon kind of worked out in her own mind was that love and saying I love you is as much about the action of loving and of being loving as it is about the words. So she made sure that her actions basically reflected what she was feeling, and the relationship that we'd been in led her to feel confident that I would reciprocate also in action and potentially in word as well. I'm not quite sure why we broke up now. Anyway, I hope that helps. Love you.